rightly said, we need a professional to help in this space because family members are also feeling low
Yes, they
equally.
are.
So
They
as
are.
a patient, you are seeing death possibly in front of you,
Yeah.
and your family members are also exactly seeing the same thing.
Yes.
So it's like everybody is in a mess.
Yes.
Now, for that mess to clear up, one person cannot, or two people, like they cannot help each other because they are just passing their mess on to the others and then catching the mess
Yes.
from the others.
True.
So it
Very
will
true.
still be a mess.
Yes.
So until and unless you turn to a professional who is ready to take away all that mess from you to actually help you out, sort it, what's exactly happening, this is going to be difficult.
Hello to everyone who's joining me here on this limitless show. A topic, a theme which is very close to my heart, which is cancer. Recently, I lost one of my school friends to cancer, and that has impacted me in a huge, huge way. And now, getting our guest for today, speaking about it. So, let me introduce you. We have Shraddha Subramanian with us, and Shraddha is an award winning business and executive coach. She's India's first intuition expert, and she is the creator of Jackpot Method for businesses and founder and CEO of Sparkling Soul. Healing through cancer, she transitioned from employee to entrepreneur as her purpose evolved to impact this world by enabling organizations and businesses live their potential. Being a national level hurdle racer, she loves speed, which makes her coaching very innovative and disruptive. She believes everything you desire is available now. And with her intuitions, she can identify deep rooted subconscious blocks in just 3 minutes of time. She has almost 20 years of leadership, 3,500 plus hours of coaching experience, impacting 7,500 lives from 21 different countries. And she works with countries' top 5 business owners and CEOs in various industries and have helped them generate exponential growth with ease. She's also the founder of a social initiative, SJT Wellness Centre, which is focused to bridge treatment and healing of the cancer patients. So, welcome to the Limitless Show, Shraddha. It's absolute honor to have you here.
Hi, Anshu.
Hey, good to
It's an
have you,
honor to be
Shraddha.
here.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what a way of beginning this show by you just started the initiative on cancer, and I just recently lost one of my friends to cancer.
Yes,
So I
yeah.
think this is not a coincidence. I totally
I'm
believe
sure.
that
I'm sure.
it was meant to be.
Yes, yes, so true.
So, Shraddha, you yourself underwent cancer way back, I think 12, 13 years back.
Yeah.
So, before we even dive deeper into anything else, I would like you to share your journey of how you beat through it and how did you evolve as an entrepreneur and a coach.
I think I would want to start with a line that everything happens for good. Whatever you are born for, the purpose, it evolves, and you are automatically taken on that path if you surrender.
Yes.
So I think same was the case with me. When I started, when I was 10 years old, I started into sports. So I am also a national level hurdle racer, as you mentioned. So fitness and mindset, I think I learned from the age of 10 completely.
Right. Absolutely.
And when it became like I was 30 years old in 2012, it cancer came into my system. And that took me to a very deep space because for the past 20 years, from 10 to 30, the level of positivity, the level of fitness, the level of the attitude towards life had always been positive. So there was nothing like I was cribbing about stuff. And, so because we say that this is how it is. Today, I know why it happened. Right. So 2012, when it happened, and being a sports person and being a positive person, I thought I was shaken, obviously. And then I thought that if someone like me, who is positive, who is healthy, can attract something of this sort in the system, which is not small, it's somewhere big. We all consider it as big.
Yes.
then there might be a lot of people in the world who are dealing with so much of stress, who are dealing with life in a big time, in big manner, and I should do something about it. And that's when the space of coaching actually started. Internal to me, there was something, some movement happening. And I always helped everyone around me as a person also. By nature, I'm actually a coach, just like that. Also, if you do conversation with me offline as well, not intense coaching conversations, but it is always like we will find some path. There's some learning out of it, not even from my side, but I always take it mutual, because other people also enables you, hopes you, so that something better comes out of you, and
Yes.
that helps the other person. So this is how I started. And then 2013 I was in London, because every year for a month I would travel for projects and stuff like that. And I would take my books and journals, and to just be with myself, rejuvenate myself, write a lot. And one of the things that I wrote was, I want to share whatever I have learned so far to the
Right.
world. And as you give out the wish to the universe, it comes back and it happens. And that's how the whole journey of coaching began. So I've been coaching from 2012, and then I started to coach people internally in the organization. I ran workshops, and after running the workshop, people would book my personal time, and then they would come to me with their challenges. And I found that people even 25, 30 years of experience, when they came to me, because I was just like 10 years of experience, 10, 12
Right.
years of experience. And I just found that there was so much of emptiness inside. There was a lack of purpose, possibly. And then when I was able to help them, the game actually changed completely from that point onwards. And I think it always changes for good. And 2018, then I chose to take a sabbatical to identify whether I would want to continue like that, or I want to shift the path, because there was a strong calling inside. And 2017, every year I used to do some learning apart from my job. So I have done a 1 year course in interior designing, MBA in finance. And then I thought that let me do a coaching part of it, some course I'll take it up. So I did the ICF certification, and I found that whatever skills they were talking about, I already have that. I've been actually working with those skills. So 2018, then I took a sabbatical, and then I never went back. And so that was my journey of entrepreneurship, which started from that point onwards. And today here I am, almost 4.5 years, and it's going well. I think I'm in the best space ever. So
So I want you to, thanks for sharing that, Shraddha, but can you touch upon what helped you recover from a disease like cancer? What were the tools that you used, or what were the things around you that helped you?
So the first thing was, looking into the future. I would say it's very important. When cancer enters your system, I think life stops over there completely. Like you're going to die now, or you're going to die tomorrow, kind of. So all the goals, all the dreams, everything, like completely, just goes off like that. Just like a curtain is like done, like you're done, your life is finished, and the game over kind of a thing.
Yes, yes.
But if you continue to look into the future, and that's one thing I always tell everybody whom I meet, do you actually stop dreaming, or stop looking forward for anything if you are sick with fever? You don't, right? Because you feel that you would recover, you would
Yes,
be, it will be done.
yes.
So you have hope, it is curable, it will all be done. So I always say that do not stop looking in the future. So that was
Mhm.
one piece that I always looked forward, because I remember in 2012, at the year end, I was supposed to take over a global role. And for that transition, I had to travel.
Right.
Now, with the ailment and with the treatment on,
Mhm.
because my treatment actually started in September. So it was like a thing that I have to travel in the year end, and how will it happen? And then it was a possibility that I could have said no to the role. I could have actually said that I can't travel, given a heads up in advance to everyone that nothing is possible, kind of.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
then rather than that, I obviously shared it my work with the relevant people, because I didn't
Hmm.
wanted it to, go around
Yeah.
unnecessarily. Uh, so I just shared with the relevant people, and then I said to them that I know I'm traveling.
Hmm.
So I just need this couple of months. I would go to work every day and then come back and go for chemo and all of that
Mm.
happening in
Mm.
the meantime. But I was not giving up on the future. I was
Mm.
not giving up on the future. So basically, what happened was this became like a roadblock, a speed breaker in how I was moving. And it was a very reflective speed breaker because it was a big reflection. It took me to the deepest spaces possible, because how how it came and what is it that I did to attract it. Today I know, because now I've digged everything about myself and why, and because of that, I'm equipped and I can help more people. So that was one thing, Anshu, really, that kept me going, definitely. And when I was looking into the future, I was actually imagining being there, and I was having those conversations. So obviously, there was this effect of law of attraction. There was so that consciousness was always there about future, because I've been a sports person, and you do everything in terms of your practice, all of that. So I think that was the thing which really helped me to go and recover.
You make me remember this book by Viktor Frankl, The Man's Search for Meaning. It somewhere touches that, because he was able to go through all the trauma in his life in the camps and everything, just because he knew he had to come out and tell the story to the world.
Correct. It's exactly similar, I think, for me as well, because somewhere, as much as I was into it, I knew that something, I am traveling. That was at least the first goal was clear.
Mm.
After that, it evolved slowly, slowly. Things
Mm.
started to happen. So I traveled in December, then I traveled in April. In April, then I wrote 2013 April. I wrote I want to do this. And April second half, I got an opportunity at work to do what I
Mm.
wanted to, and then it
Mm.
really, it started to create a ripple effect of all of,
Right.
and that's why
Right.
I'm sitting here today, because you know I feel that it's such a blessing. It's such a, I feel grateful to cancer for shifting the whole perspective, and helping me realize my purpose. I was always enjoying IT, because there was nothing which I was not enjoying. I was always happy, and that's when this thing came, and everybody was so surprised and shocked that how why are you actually doing this, and what's the need, and but I was very sure that this is what I want to do, because I was with it for, I think, 3 4 5 years
Right.
before
Right.
I chose to take a leap of faith. But I
Yes.
think I knew that this is my space. This is
Right.
the uh, home that I belong to. Coaching is
Yes.
my home, actually
Right.
speaking, and this is where I belong to. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Glad that you are there to support so many other people in this.
Thank you.
And so, how long did the remission take for you to, I mean, put the cancer into remission? How long was that period?
So the treatment was only for 3 months. I
Hmm.
required treatment for 3 months, but then the follow-ups were for almost 2 years. That
Okay, so that it does not come back again,
correct.
or
So the
any such thing
test,
does
and
not
every
happen.
month you have to do the test, and now you have to visit the
Hmm.
doctor, and you have to make sure that you are
Hmm.
okay. And if I had to travel, I would say I can't do the test, and they were like, "No, it's not possible." So you have to make your travel plans
Hmm.
accordingly. So it
Hmm.
was like I felt a lot of hassle in that, but then at the same time, it was important as well. Like
Right.
somewhere, because internally I knew that I've
Hmm.
done it. Like it's done now. That's it.
Yes. Yes.
But
Yes.
then medically there is always an approval required, and
Yes.
that is how, and the
Hmm.
protocol has to be followed, because
Yes.
it's very important from your health point
Hmm.
of view, definitely.
Hmm.
So I honored and respected that for sure, but then it was almost 2 years, more than 2 years, I would say, that it kept on month on month, month on month, month on month, all of that kept on happening.
Hmm. And now, how did the idea of the SJT Wellness Center crop up in your mind? Where did that come from?
Okay, so SJT stands for my parents' name, Sheila Jayant Thirgaonkar. So this
Okay.
is this is what is the initials, and
Mm-hmm.
for the idea to come in, because my both my parents had cancer as well. So my mother was diagnosed in 2010 with a stage 4 cancer, but then she lived on for 9 long years, irrespective of
Okay.
the fact that
Mm-hmm.
that something like that big was
In
inside.
post stage of cancer, she
Yeah,
survived for 9 years. That's a
yeah. So
huge number.
she
Yes.
actually broke the records of no life expectancy of a stage
Mm.
4 patient. And
Yes.
doctors were like 1 or 2 years maximum, and that is what the conversations were always on.
Yes.
And then she would always come back. She would always, and there were a lot of treatment that happened to her, definitely. Initially, fine, one and a half years, and then there was a break because there was all okay. But then it slowly came back. So because of stage 4, I think the whole healing was difficult at that moment.
Mm.
But otherwise, she was a school teacher. She actually taught
Mm.
students for 7 long years, even after she was diagnosed.
Mm.
And she actually properly retired. So she was not like, I'm not going to give up. So this space, this me you see, it's like a reflection of my parents.
Yes.
I'm not going to
Yes.
give up. Whatever it is, it's going to be
Yes.
okay. Let's move on.
Mm.
And the positivity, at my home was at a very different level. So before me, my mother was diagnosed in 2010.
Mm.
And so 2 years of her journey, and then my journey came into picture. My father got it after my mother passed away in 2019. She passed away in 2020. Then he got it, and obviously his space was very, very extreme again. So he was diagnosed with blood cancer, and
Mm.
at a very advanced stage. So
Mm.
we couldn't do much about it. But then 8 months of whatever life he lived,
Mm.
in that also he was very positive. He was
Mm.
not like, I want to go just now. He knew that there is time. I mean, I don't have time as such. But then there was not much of, I would say, he was he was still living. He
Yeah,
was
he was
not,
not living with regrets or any such thing.
nothing of that sort. So he
Mm.
was living. He was living every day as if, this is a normal day. He used to
Yes.
try stuff,
Mm.
push himself, and do
Mm.
whatever he can.
Mm.
So that was something that, and both the parents, when they gone through it, and I've been the caregiver, even a palliative care I've done for my parents. So I know that what goes in, you are emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, like you're drained out because it's such a long stretcher of years that
Mm.
goes in for
Mm.
the space. And I think that made me realize that there is a need of, uh, because treatment the doctor can give you. So doctors cannot go on counseling you, right? Because their
Yes.
job is treatment,
Yes.
and then
True.
they have so many patients to look after too, and then they can't talk to patients, to the family members, and there's so much that is there.
Yes.
So
Yes.
in my parents' case, one thing was very prevalent, that my mother could live for 9 long years just because the environment at home was very positive. My father was also very positive. My mother, obviously, she had a long desire to keep on living whatever way she could. And that's where uh, the whole journey became easier. It was difficult for sure. To every time after a test, there will always be a question, confusion. And from that space, then she could evolve and live for 9 years. So that made me realize there's a difference between treatment and healing. And if I could bridge the gap between treatment and healing through this wellness center for cancer patients, I think there is a lot of winning rate over cancer that will be available. Even if
Right.
we couldn't win with the death, because death is going to happen. None of us is like inevitable. We are,
Yes.
it's
Yes. We
like,
are not immortals.
correct. We are not immortal, so we are not going to live. So we are going to die for some reason, whatever,
Yes.
either old
Yes.
age or something reason. So
Yes.
if you're dying of cancer, again, one thing I would want to mention, that don't take it that that was a giving up scenario. That cancer made the death happen. Don't take it
Yes.
that way.
Yes.
Take it that it was any which way is going to happen.
Going to happen.
Correct. What matters now is what kind of life in
Yes.
between,
The quality that
the
you are.
quality of life.
Yes.
Correct. So the whole intention is to enhance the quality of life, to help people maybe live longer if possible. If not, in that space itself, whatever is
Mm.
going on, at
Mm.
least to look at it from a perspective, from a positive side of the thing, whatever way possible, and access their own self. internally, so that okay, fine, fine, I have to go and take a chemo rather than resisting it. How can I embrace it so that I am not getting troubled too much? Obviously, there is a bodily, a pain that comes up, and there's a lot of symptoms, and there's a lot that goes in. But the healing part, if we try to access more and more,
Right.
that's going to create a different advantage to
Yes.
the whole treatment aspect. It will aid to it. And
Yes.
treatment will always be done on the body, but the emotional and the mental aspects, the thoughts and the emotions are never looked at from a
Yes.
medical point of view.
Yes.
So I wanted to focus on both two aspects.
So, Shraddha, the people who undergo cancer or any big disease for that matter, cancer just being one, do they really need to go through any kind of a mindset shift? You yourself were into sports and a lot of other things, and that's why you knew the power of resilience and everything,
Yeah,
which might not be the case with everyone.
true.
So, and in case they do require, how do you think who is going to help them with that mindset?
I think to answer the first question, of course, it's required because you have been living in a certain manner in a certain space, and now there is because of which cancer is entered into your system. So let's be very clear of that we are the creators and we are creating it.
Absolutely.
So that is how it entered you. Now, with if with that space it entered you, for the exit to happen, there has to be a shift. Otherwise, you will always allow the entrance, but then there is no exit. So, from that space, then the mindset shift is obviously required. Coming to the question number two, because who is going to help them? Um, that is the reason that I have formed SJT Wellness Center. That's number one, and there are then people around. So I'm not saying that it's only me who would be able to do that, but I think as a community we have to join hands and collaborate. And I know there are a lot of other support groups as well on the space of cancer, and I've been speaking to that. And I always feel that this SJT Wellness Center is just going to be a tributary to the river.
Right.
And that the river is going to meet into the ocean.
Yes.
That is the scale of small efforts from around us that's going to create a massive change. Until then, whatever way it's happening, it's going to be there, but the evolution is going to be more and more, I believe, as there are more and more cases coming up, as there is more and more stress and pressure and fast living lives, and there's no consciousness, there's no pause. So on the other side, as much as that's happening on this side, like after getting it, also there is a lot that's happening. So it's the collective space, Anshu. I think that all of us, every person is required to talk about it very openly and also to help them in whatever way you can. That's for sure.
What I also want to know, I'm sure you must have done your either, I mean, you have had the experience of having it in the family itself, and plus you would have spoken to the people before getting started. Is there any such facility right now that exists in every cancer hospital where they align a counselor or a therapist to the patient and the families? Because it's not only about the patient.
About the patient, of course not.
Even the caregiver has to know what kind of emotions they must come from, what kind of a mindset they must come from. So, is there any such prevalent practices which are there across all the hospitals that are there?
I think in general, it's more on the doctors as far as I have seen. While both my parents have been under treatment, it's more on the doctors. Some hospitals do have that support. There is if there are big hospitals, then obviously there is a bit of a support that's available. But mostly it is on the doctors to do the part of counseling as well. And as I said, they can do whatever they can do. They can't do for they can't spend a whole day on a patient and family members.
Absolutely.
So that is the gap that I found, that there is this gap that is existing, and it is not created by someone. It is just because the number of patients is increasing.
Yes. Almost nowadays every home has a cancer patient.
Correct. Yes.
Yes.
So that is why the number of patients are increasing. Also, I would say that many number of doctors are coming up, but then definitely we always want to go to a specialist, and we always want to know about how much work they have done. So obviously there is a huge queue outside the clinic of the doctors who are like, who have practiced for years together. They understand cancer and all of that. So that is the space I feel that required, that needed to be addressed.
Yes.
And that is why the initiative that I've come up with is going to help in this space completely. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I strongly feel that the friend that I lost, if she had gotten the right kind of counseling and support, because the family, of course, stands by you. They don't have a choice as well. But apart from that, but then, the family itself is going through a turmoil. And if there
True.
is no one who is there to hold your hands, who's professionally probably trained and who
Indeed.
really knows,
Correct.
then it becomes very difficult. They somehow pass on their mindset to the patient as well.
Correct. Very true. Like here, I want to mention one of the things. Like when my mother got it, uh, so they were not in the hometown; they were in Ahmedabad for treatment.
Right.
And after 3 months of treatment, when they came back to the hometown, my hometown Indore, a lot of people started to come home to visit my mother, and then there will be conversations about
Yes.
that person got it, and this happened and
Yes.
that happened. And my father and my mother, but mostly my father, because he was very sure that we don't want to talk about this.
Yes.
So he used to tell people directly on their faces that, you know what, look, you have come here to give us positivity, and we really appreciate it. That you had concern about us, and then you have come
Yes.
to visit us. Um, but if you want to talk good things, future plans, we are here to listen, and let's go about it. If you have something to share on in your lives, we are there to hear whatever it is. But we don't want to hear stories of
Yes.
other people.
Yes.
How they got it and what happened, and how they lost their lives and all of that, like all of that.
Yes.
So that was strictly a no-no at my home. Strictly,
Right.
like very strictly a no-no, that with all due respect to people, it was not allowed. So that is one of the things which was there, obviously. And as you rightly said, we need a professional to help in this space, because uh, family members are also feeling low
Yes, they
equally.
are. They
So
are.
as a patient, you are seeing death possibly in front of you,
Yeah.
and your family members are also exactly seeing the same thing.
Yes.
So it's like everybody is in a mess.
Yes.
Now, for that mess to clear up, one person cannot, or two people, like they cannot help each other, because they are just passing their mess on to the others and then catching the mess
Yes.
from the others.
True.
So it
Very
will
true.
still be a mess.
Yes.
So until and unless you turn to a professional who is ready to take away all that mess from you, to actually help you out, sort it, what's exactly happening, this is going to be difficult to come out of the mess immediately by themselves. And it will take years together. And unfortunately, in the space of cancer, we don't have too much of time. Like, if someone is having maybe knee pain and it is continuing for long years, it still is manageable. You have time. You can help them slowly, 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 and everything will be okay.
Right.
But in the space of cancer, there is not too much of time available to do it
Yes.
that way. So the faster it comes out, that's good. Like whatever internal stuff comes out, that's good. And the earlier you approach a professional,
Yes.
it's also going to make a lot of difference.
Yes.
So yes, that's important. Yeah.
That's very important, and I truly feel that if such initiatives by maybe whatever NGOs, like you yourself have come up with something now, if they can actually talk to these hospitals, and they can have something where every patient who comes in, someone will reach out to them and start counseling them. Of course, it can be kept free, because we don't want to burden these people with additional counseling and therapy and all these things. But just as a social gesture, because all of us can get affected by the same thing tomorrow. Just as a so
Very
just
true.
as a human thing. But I
Very
think
true.
it's very much required, because my friend was not in the advanced stages of cancer, and she should have aptly speaking, gotten out of it. But rather than getting out of it, in 6 months, we completely lost her. So I'm sure there was what was at play was the big mindset issue and the emotions put on her by a lot of other people and everything. So things did not go right in that way.
Of course.
So I really appreciate this beginning that you have started, and this feeling that you have where you want to go ahead and help people. So this is really absolutely necessary. So now another thing is the hospital. I mean, now let's talk about the cancer prevention as well.
Hmm.
What do you think? Have you gone through certain things where we can prevent? Because I highly talk about, I'm into holistic wellness myself, and
True, yeah.
why get cancer or any other disease? What are the ways we can lead that kind of a life where we are away from all of these things? So, what are your views on the prevention part?
I think, of course, prevention is possible, and it is possible because if we are creators of everything in our world, I think we can create beautiful things rather than
Yes,
inviting something as a disease.
yes,
Again, I would focus on the point that your thoughts and emotions lead to everything. Those
yes,
are creating your beautiful experiences also, and those are also creating something like cancer in your system. So it's very important that whenever, wherever you are having a resistance, a resistance basically shows up in your mood. If you are angry a lot of times, if you are upset a lot of times, you are sad a lot of times, maybe you are carrying grief for a longer period. So
yes,
it's like all those emotions, which we call it as negative emotions, or the emotions through which it becomes very difficult. We have a heartache around that space.
yes,
Those needs to be addressed,
yes.
and addressed as soon as possible,
Possible.
because the moment you realize that in within the 24 hours in the day, maybe my 18 hours are actually going into a lot of hassle,
Yes.
and only hassle, and I'm just doing a thing of uh, collecting my life as if it is spread all around.
Hmm.
It is such a pain. Living is not a joy, it is such a
Yes.
pain. All the time
Yes.
you are feeling that, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that, I need
Yes.
to do this have to need to
Life
show.
is more like a chore rather than
Correct, correct.
actually,
Actually,
yeah.
it's like the joy of living is completely lost.
Yes.
So if that stage you are reaching in your own zone, and this is like a very easy indicator of
Hmm.
identifying, you can actually do a emotion map. I always say that it's very easy to find, because when you do an emotion map, you'll be able to identify like how are your emotions during
Yes.
the day. Do a emotion map for 3 days, and you'll identify, you'll be able to be an observer to your own life, that where am I headed, what kind of
Absolutely.
emotions I'm dealing with. And the
Absolutely.
moment you realize that it's not going the way I would like it to be, there is missing joy for longer periods.
Yes.
Some days in everybody's life are going to be challenging. Some days it's going to be very difficult to move on. But then if it is becoming most of the days, then some days I think that's where the whole difference lies in the
Yes.
space of prevention. So
Yes.
some to most is the space of prevention, where you are walking from some to most. Most of the people don't realize life takes over. It was some days and now it has become most of the
Yeah.
days. And from that most of the days, obviously, you are going to land in the hospital with some ailment like this.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
then you will be like praying, if I would have not thought too much about it, because there was
Yes.
nothing to think about over
Hmm.
your life.
Yes.
So there's nothing big in this world over your life. And if that's true, what am I stressing upon?
Yes.
There's no point in doing that. But I
Yes.
understand that we all are not wired same. We are
Yes.
wired differently. And
Yes.
as we have evolved from the people who used to live in tribes, that's one,
Yes.
who used to live for survival in the
Yes.
jungle. They were always scared of the wild animals and all of that
Yeah. Yeah.
surrounding. We are wired like that. So
Yes.
today we want to follow social norms because we feel that that's going to impact my living in the tribe if I take a step which is away from whatever it is. The second one, which I was saying, that it's more from the survival space rather than thriving. I think as human beings we have actually evolved, and we don't have to really worry about that. How do I make my ends meet?
Yes.
We have moved on. We have resources.
Yeah,
We
but we
can
still
create
have that fight and flight response for everything.
everything. Like
Everything.
we have taken
Yes.
it so much on ourselves that this is me, like whatever
Yes.
it is, and there's no surrender in that space. There's no
Yes.
watching yourself. There's no observation. And then number three, as because we were scared, and we used to actually just live for our own that piece. But today's life, if you look at it, it is much fast paced. So
Yes.
we can't compare, obviously, but because of the evolution on one side, the other side also has become more prevalent, that you are
Yes.
on a faster pace of life.
Hmm.
It's not taking a pause. And if you are not taking a pause in this faster pace of life, because that pause is actually the joy that you are born for,
Yes.
then you are obviously inviting something like this in your system. So
Very
it's
true.
very important, Anshu, to look into your emotion map. 3 days of emotion map, you'll be like crystal clear about your life, where it is headed, what's happening. And then if it is not making sense, please do reach out to professionals. They will be
Yes.
able to help you. And it's not that if you reach out to a coach, to a therapist, a psychologist, that you are mad, and or there's something wrong with you, that's why you need
Yes.
to. That paradigm is also shifting.
It's
We can be
shifting.
happy about
It's
it.
absolutely
Shifting.
shifting.
It is shifting big time, especially after the pandemic. It is shifting big
Yes.
time. There is
Yes.
still a way to go, but then I feel that's shifting. So why not? Why
Hmm.
not, when the support is available,
Yes.
take that support. It's very important. It's
Yes.
really very important that, I always say everyone needs to have a coach, or everyone needs to have that support system, which is available outside of your you know,
Environment, the immediate
environment.
environment that you are
It's
in.
very important. Out of your first circle, second circle, it should be outside of that, being as
Yes.
an observer, and then you're accessing that help, and you'll find that life becomes such an easy space there.
Yes, absolutely, Shraddha. In fact, I myself consistently, I think nowadays I stress upon awareness, because people are just living in auto mode and they don't even know where they are headed, what do they want in their life, and that they are reacting to every
Every
small thing in
small
life.
thing.
They are not responding, they are just reacting.
True,
If
true.
we can live in awareness, a much more conscious life,
Yeah,
we will really know. Every time something triggers us, we will know that these things trigger me. Okay, what should I do about it?
yeah,
then
true.
I'm ready to work, because awareness is always the first step.
Correct,
If
correct.
we are aware, at least we can take the further steps. If I'm not able to help myself, I will reach out for help.
Definitely. And that's what the intention of SJT Wellness Center is, to create that awareness, number one, because there's no awareness that your thoughts are leading to your emotions, and then it is leading to a disease. People see disease
Absolutely.
as something standalone which has
Some
come from somewhere else, and you have attracted, like you are a
Yes.
magnet and you are attracted onto your body. It's not like that. It's you who has been attracting those thoughts and then leading to those emotions, which has showed up in your body cells right now. So that's the intention, to first create the awareness, and then going out and helping people in whatever way, as one-on-one conversations. That's the plan of this space, and that is what I feel is going to set out a huge example in terms of how we can offer support to the cancer patients. In fact, if you look at it, Anshu, there is also the empathy, rather than empathy, there is a lot of sympathy that runs on. Oh,
Yes.
that person has cancer. Oh,
Yes.
I don't think that person can do this.
Yes.
It's like as if you are now out of the world, and if you have to
Yes.
experience anything in the world, you have to prove yourself that okay, you are eligible for it.
Yes.
So that's another thing I feel like, we don't want to be treated special. Okay,
Yes.
it's fine. It's okay that, there is something. So if you have fever, again, I'm giving the same example. If you're given fever, are you thrown out of the world and said, first you prove that you're healthy to be,
Hmm.
having this experience, and then we will invite you for that.
Yes.
I think that's very important, as well as a normal awareness in general people as well, that be empathetic, don't be sympathetic, because then what happens is just don't people don't want it. Empathy also empowers the other person
Yes.
to to have those boundaries, where that
Hmm.
person wants to be open, that person will be. If not, then you're respecting their boundaries. You're not
Absolutely.
actually taking decisions, or you're not commenting on their behalf. It's not
Hmm.
allowed. Please
Yes.
don't do that, and please don't discount their lives as well. Definitely that's the message. It has to really go out very strong. It's very, very important.
In fact, Shraddha, I also want to bring out another perspective to this thing. I have been feeling it for a very long time. Is I see people in surrender of the fact that nowadays, this is a big word nowadays, diseases are coming in every home. It's very common to get cancer. It's very common to have heart attacks. It's very common to have all these diseases. And since everyone is suffering from it, so then even I cannot escape it, and I have to live my life with medicines, and I have to live my life with diseases. And this is the way world is, and this is the way even I should be, because I see everyone running to the
Correct.
hospitals all the time and eating medicines, so it's normal. Everything has been
Correct.
normalized. People are not
That's
ready to
true.
even ask questions that why.
Why? I know that why is so important. And when you do that, when you ask yourself that question as why, I think it will open up different and greater channels in healing. I
Absolutely,
completely
our
agree
body
that.
is a big doctor. Our body has the
Oh, I
all the
so much
innate.
believe that if there is a scar, it heals automatically. Then why can't cancer? Because every
Absolutely.
cell is so empowered. Every cell itself has
Yes.
a good life and a bad life, and maybe cancer is there. But then if you are fueling the right cells, I'm sure
Yes.
that the others will go away. Those are not required to be there. It has
Yes.
just come to tell you something. There's a message
Yes.
in that.
There is a message, there's a lesson which you
There's
must
a
learn
lesson,
and
there's
move
a
on.
message. Correct. And once you hear that lesson, once you're open to listen to that message, then only you will be healing from cancer. That is
Yes.
for sure. Because the moment you are not able to, you always resist that go away. But it has come to convey you a message. Until you
Yes.
don't listen to that, it's not going to go away. For me, why it was easier, I believe that I could hear the message
Yes.
very loud and clear, and in whatever way I could. So I could get the message, I think, pretty fast. So,
Hmm.
for me, that journey was shorter as compared to the other people
Because
in
maybe
general.
one reason was you never thought yourself to be a victim. The
Never
problem
ever.
with people is they, as soon as something comes, they behave like a victims. And others also make you feel, as you said, they sympathize. They make you feel like, oh, you got cancer.
Totally,
Oh my
totally,
God.
totally. And that's what
Uh,
one of the reasons was that I just shared with my boss and,
hmm.
one person more at work, like my seniors, and I just told them that, you know what, this is not going out. I don't want to be looked upon as someone who has got something of this in her system,
Hmm.
uh, from a perspective that I wanted to hide it. No. But then on the other side, I didn't want it to create the ripple of negative emotions
Yes.
with
Yes.
people, because I knew that will impact the overall game of
Yes.
the people in the organization. I knew because they will be feeling obviously about it. Obviously, they knew me and they were close to me, so obviously that's going to happen. But on the other side, I didn't want it to stop my healing to happen
Yes.
as well, because the more than you are dealing with people's stuff around you,
Yeah.
the more then you are not listening to yourself. So
Hmm.
I was actually setting a boundary to shut down the outside world so that I can hear myself loud and clear. It
Hmm.
was very important. Unless that happens, it's going to be very difficult
Yes.
to just deal with it. And then when you're dealing with a professional, this is the safe space that you get, where
Yes.
you can hear yourself out loud
Yes.
with no
Yes.
judgment.
No judgment.
And
Yes.
the professionals help you also in understanding the message, in really decoding it, in really
Hmm.
helping the message to bring to the surface. There's a
Yes.
lot of things in there. And that's why
Hmm.
I say that this is an important space in healing, which is a very important step. It's
Hmm.
the most important step in healing.
Hmm.
Treatment is on, and it's going to be on. And
Hmm.
obviously, you get the best of the treatments. Everything is there, and it should continue. I'm not saying that you leave this and you just
Hmm.
do that. No, but then if you're not eliminating the root, you are just scooping the surface all the time.
Yes.
And the more you keep on scooping the surface, the roots will again grow up. And that's where
Yes.
people have, reoccurrences.
Reoccurrences,
That's
resurfacing
how,
of the same
correct.
thing.
So it's
Yes.
always like that until you treat it. It's like, it's exact. Cancer is basically I say that we always say that the lesson will keep on coming to you unless you listen to it.
Unless you
different
listen to it.
different forms.
Yes.
You say that
Different form. Yes, yes,
in
yes.
cancer the form is the same
Yes.
to teach you the same lesson unless you are actually listening to it and going on.
Yes.
So this has been one of the spaces. Like for me, I made sure that everything is taken care of because I was aware. I
Yes.
think that part helped.
Exactly. Exactly. Because awareness is always the first step. Without awareness, you cannot go to the second step.
Very true. And I'd seen in my mom's case just 2 years before when I got
Right.
it. So
Right.
I'd seen that how broken we were, how
Hmm.
shaken we were,
Hmm.
and how difficult it was to because for me, doctor had said life is not at stake, but for my
Hmm.
mom, it was at stake
Right.
completely.
Right.
Completely. So as a family, I'd felt that emotion inside
Hmm.
already. But then I'd also seen her come up from her space.
Yes.
That was another help, and that's why I say that it's a collective space, and that's why when today I as a cancer winner talk about stuff,
Hmm.
I say okay, if I can, you can as well. So
Yes.
don't give up.
Yes, absolutely. So now moving on to another, a totally unrelated thing to this, what we are talking about. In your profile it says that you have the intuitive coaching methodologies and you can identify some deep-rooted subconscious beliefs in 3 minutes. It sounded pretty intriguing to me. So please share a little bit about it.
I think that's a blessing, Anshu, to be very honest. And then over the years now, after finding it that is a blessing, I've kept on upskilling on it, honing it as much as possible. So we all have intuitions. It's not like that I have and you
Agree. Agree.
And the only difference I feel here is that I'm able to tap into it much faster at a lightning speed than maybe someone else.
Okay.
So that is the biggest difference.
And what was the some of the practices that you did to be so fast? I agree, intuition is there with all of us. I'm a very intuitive person rather than going logical
Correct,
way. I'm
correct,
very intuitive.
very
But what makes it that lightning fast for you? What were some of the practices that you have
right.
done?
So I think the sampling of working with people is one of the definitely it's one of the ways I kept on honing it. I kept on utilizing it, and then I kept on contributing. It's not always paid. I have done a lot of work in
Hmm.
initially in my coaching career.
Hmm.
That it helped me to understand people's space and their journey. And another bit, I think I'm blessed that I can be with that person in that space in that moment when they're talking about their biggest challenge in their life,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
space where they had felt, and I can hear the statement that comes out from them in that moment. And when I tell them that this is your statement, you keep on saying this all the time, and they get literally surprised that how do you know that? So
Hmm.
intuitions are always there with everyone, and I actually treat myself as a medium to share. And every conversation I sit into, it's always like there's an intention set that allow me to speak up what is going to
Hmm.
be beneficial for this person.
Hmm.
So that's one practice I always follow. This has been one
Hmm.
of my things that I want to be the medium. I don't want to be the person who is doing it all, but then I want to
Actually,
be
the
the medium.
coaches, healers, therapists, I totally believe are always a medium.
Indeed,
If someone is
indeed.
really thinking
Yeah.
and that they are the people, they are really wrong. You can only
I
be a
don't think
vessel.
so. Yeah, yeah. It is a container. You are
Yes,
in the you so the coaches are in the container, and that
yes,
container is like, you can take whatever you want from that
yes,
space, and then
yes,
heal yourself, go on, achieve your goals and all of that. So definitely I'm a messenger in this space, and
yes.
when that so intuitions happen to me always. I think from the space I know myself. When I remember myself today, like how did I come to know? But I always used to come to know the unsafe spaces, the safe spaces, people's intentions, whatever they are talking, do they really mean it or not? So it has always been there with me, always. And when I look back, I think there was pretty much good outcome of that because when I could tap into my intuitions and I could take that right decision in that moment to choose and to decide whether I want to do this or not, it has always worked. And over the period of time now,
Hmm.
I do different exercises as well. Now I don't need to do it, but then I share with people. So I teach intuitions also, Anshu. And one of my biggest messages like why do I work with business owners is I want business to amalgamate with intuitions because there is so much of power.
Yes.
Business is generally thought as the strategy game, the logical game,
Logical,
always
yes.
the mind game, and
Yes,
there's
yes.
nothing apart from mind, and you should just focus on the strategies, and you don't need to look into anything else. But I
Yes.
say it's the game of intuitions because there
Yes.
there are times in business, and I have because I coach a lot of leaders and converse with a lot of leaders. And every person I've spoken to, they've said always that when we work in the space of alignment, in the sense, even if the data outside is showing something for us to take a decision in a certain manner, but when we go with our internal navigation system, which
Yes.
tells, no, this is what is going to be right, do this.
Yes.
And when we take that path, we have seen breakthrough results and we have been
Yes.
able to become pioneers only because of that.
Right. I
And
totally agree.
that's what I completely, talk about. I, advertise everywhere saying that, what, you need to start using intuitions in
Yes.
your business.
Yes.
The moment you'll be able to do that, you will find that the whole game changes for you. You
I
are
totally agree.
completely
Yes.
into doing operations 24/7. All of that will just go away. You will
Yes.
be at peace. And from that space, you are attracting more better opportunities.
Right. Absolutely. I am a big advocate of intuitions as well, Shraddha.
Indeed, yeah, I know that, I'm sure, because knowing you, of course, I feel that because I think as a coach, we have a better space of intuitions in general, any which
Yes.
ways,
Absolutely.
because we deal with a lot
Absolutely.
of people, emotions, what they feel, and how we coach them. It completely turns around the game for the people. Yeah.
Yes. And before we move on to our next round, Shraddha, last thing, what does becoming limitless mean to you?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah. I am a big, again, big into limitlessness of a human spirit. And that's why this limitless show and, limitless movement.
Yeah.
So now to you, what is limitlessness? What is becoming limitless? If anyone becomes limitless or if anyone unleashes that limitlessness within, what is that to you?
For me, limitless is the sky that you feel, just above you, and just there's no end to it. It's just there everywhere, the space which is available. And if you can become that, nothing like it. So I consider the sky, the space as like a cover, the universe is cover over us. And nowadays, when I pray as if I'm just pulling that cover over everyone in this world, that way. So, so I feel if you can add on to that cover of the universe, I think that's limitless. Then you are completely unstoppable. You are over the boundaries of your physical being.
Right.
That is what is for me being limitless is. So there is, you desire and you make it happen, and it is effortless as well.
Yes. Yes. Effortless manifestation.
Correct. And you just are in the being. So there's no hassle. There's nothing like, as I said, the emotion map earlier, the emotion map just shows the joy and the happiness.
Yes.
And that's where, you are just living limitless because things are automatically happening, whatever day it is.
Absolutely. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Shraddha. So we move on to our next quick round, the lightning bolt round, and quick questions and quick and short answers.
Sure.
So, what are the top 3 things on your bucket list for this year?
Number 1 is being a TEDx speaker. Number 2 is to be an investor in businesses, and I want to coach them as well. So I know that's going to be a win-win situation. That's
Right.
number 2. And number 3, travel as much as I can every month in whatever location, city, country. I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay, amazing, amazing. What subconscious belief are you still working on yourself?
So one of the subconscious belief I have is I am not supported. And I have overcome a huge aspect of it, but I'm still working on it in bits and pieces. So that's on. That's on.
Yes, we are always work in progress. I believe that.
Indeed, yeah, and I totally feel grateful for that, because the journey is like you're reaching to your core completely,
Yes,
accessing
yes.
it.
There is something to
So
still look forward to.
correct, and it's beautiful. It's
It's
beautiful.
beautiful. I agree. What are some of the daily rituals you practice?
So daily rituals, obviously, I do my gratitude journal. I write a journal. I meditate. I do yoga exercise. I read. I write. This much at least is like a part of my daily
Daily
space.
practices, yes.
And one of the things I do, and sharing it here with all of you, is every day I write a letter to my daughter.
Amazing.
One pager. And whatever comes up in that moment for her, appreciating her, maybe some golden nuggets that I want to share with her.
Right.
And every day I write a letter to her. It's like a process. It is helping me two ways. One is I'm set in a different zone altogether, because when I think about her, I'm already at a very different emotional
Yes,
level.
absolutely.
And when I'm sharing something with her, it feels like fulfilling as a mother as well.
Yes.
And I'm sure that whatever I write, today she's 7, she may not make sense of all of it today, but I'm sure whenever she can, it is going to be a big help to her.
Yes.
And
Letter from mother to daughter. She will
yes,
open the whole diary and she will be like,
yes,
wow.
she opens it every day and sees the date and I've written it or not. That is a ritual she follows. That have you written about me something? She knows that I write, and definitely she enjoys that. But obviously, whatever she could make sense of, she would. And that's where I feel that this is one of my favorite rituals in the day, and it puts me at a very different space.
I absolutely loved it. If I'm going to tell my daughter, she's going to say, okay, now you also start writing.
And I think every mother needs to do that, because there is so much that we want to share with our child, even if they grow up, right? Like, I know some of my friends who are in their 50s, and then when they say that, oh, now my child is 23, 24, like, an adult and grown up, and then I'm still worrying about him or her. And I just say, like, you want to pass on the energies, because now the conversations are different, they are grown up, and you can't just be talking to them like kids. You could do that earlier. So one of the things could be just write a letter to them. They may not read it, but then at least your energy would shift, and you would be giving the positive energy to them any which ways, which will bring a change in their life automatically.
Yes.
So you don't have to actively do that. There are ways to put you in that space, and for them also. And then that's something that it's not going to go away. It's going to be with them. So I think that's a very good way. So I follow the practice, and this is beautiful. The first time I'm sharing with someone. I'm happy I'm doing that with you, because you're my daughter.
Great. I'm totally in for it, I think, and maybe I'll begin the practice soon.
All the best.
Who has inspired you the most in your life, and why?
I think it's both my parents, but more my mother, I would say.
Right.
They both have been visionary in their own worlds, and I'm just an amalgamation of both the visionaries, I believe, and I'm a visionary myself. So they both visioned their life, because the start for them were very humble, very very humble. Underground to where they finished is like I would say from ground to sky. That kind of path they covered in their one lifetime, I would say. And that was not easy. That was very challenging. The resources were limited, very limited. And the challenges and the families, whole of the both sides of like two big families, and to take care of everyone. So from them, what I received was that, okay, go on and do whatever you want to, like the commitment from both of them. Right. That if you choose, you do it. And that's it. Like when I started my entrepreneurship journey, like my father was upset. He was not liking the idea of leaving a job where you have a good salary, because they had seen difficult times, and obviously, he as a father didn't wanted me to be not financially independent as well. So he had that idea that you should be working whatever it is. You have studied so much, and you should put use of it and all of that. And I was sure that I would make it happen. It's not like that. But then obviously as a father, and then he told me a sentence, I know you are like me. So even if I keep on saying you go back to job, you're not going to, because you have chosen this. And I know when I choose something, I follow. So I can't tell you that don't do it. But then as a father, I'm still telling you. And I still know that you're not going to stop. You're going to do whatever you're going to do. So because you're like me. So both of them, I would say both of them. My mother had been very sincere coaching, because while she was sick and I was learning coaching, healing methods and all of that. So she was my first coaching, and I always implemented everything on her first. And she was very open to that, to try it out. And that's where she could access healing in those periods of time while she was there and I was learning different things as a part of being coach. So I think that helped. She was a visionary in a space that after my last day at work, when I came home, they were here, both of them were here in Pune with me. She opened the door and she welcomed me, saying that now you are a businesswoman, and I'm so glad that you are. And because I am the first entrepreneur in my family, all of my people are in job, and so I'm the first one. So she was so happy, and for this to come from her was like a big assurance and was like a big pat on my back that okay, I've not chosen something out of the world. But when she said that, I think it was beautiful.
A big burden was, I think, taken off your back.
Indeed. And today, when I have any kind of challenge, I just close my eyes and I just say, okay, show me the path, whatever it is. And I think she's there to guide. They both are there to guide. And I think they both have been my inspiration in every way possible, be it community service that came today from SJT Wellness Centre. I think if they were alive, they would have done the same thing. So this has all come from them completely. Beautiful. I owe them a
lot. We all do, yes. What is the one thing that you want your daughter to learn from you right now? I mean, if I say just one thing, if she had only one thing, like the way you told me why they have an inspiration, your resilience and your decisions they come from. What is that one thing you want your daughter to pick from you?
Set boundaries. That's it. Whatever it is. What is acceptable, what is not acceptable. That's it.
Amazing. When you're feeling low, what is the one thing that you do to pull yourself up?
Play with my daughter. One thing, we both dance a lot, so we just switch on the music and everything goes away. Then there's nothing which lies inside me. If she's not around, maybe I'll journal. I write a lot. I believe in shedding it off in the writing.
Yes. So Shraddha, what is your favorite movie of all time?
Favorite movie of all time? I think there are many. The recent one I watched was Ujai. I think that moved me a lot in its own way. And I think every movie which is related to sports and which has a message, I think that all those movies you can count on that I love.
Bhag Milkha Bhag kinds.
Bhag Milkha Bhag or Chak De India or even Dangal was a great one.
Yes.
So the made on some autobiographies of some
sports person or
legends, I think which has some message, some inspiration to just cross your barriers, be limited in its own way. And those are the ones which I just love watching.
Same for me. I love such movies.
Yeah.
Totally. Your most favorite food?
Oh, my most favorite food is pani puri.
My daughter would agree more with you. Okay, great. 3 books that you would recommend to the audience.
The first one is Atomic Habits, for sure. That's the most one. And then The Surrender Experiment from Michael Singer. I think that has one of the biggest impacts. And then the third one, any book from Abraham Hicks about, moving into your positivity zone or tune into those vibrations where you are receiving whatever you are meant to receive. All of them actually are my favorites. The recent one I'm reading with my daughter is the Sarah book, which begins at age of 10, but I'm also enjoying reading with her.
Nice.
And I introduced books to her very early, so there's no age limit per se for us. We read and we enjoy that. So those are the best ones.
How beautiful. Any last message for the people who are watching you right now?
The last message is be limitless in whatever you do, whatever you are set out to, even if you have limited resources right now. But it is how you choose to feel about it would define your future. So if you choose to feel limited about your limited resources, it's going to be always limited. But if you choose to feel limitless,
Yes.
even with those limited resources, your life will have no boundaries and you will be expanded like the sky. That's it.
Beautiful.